So good morning, and this is a Monday morning yoga Pilates fusion class, our kind of normal class, but it's a holiday weekend. So I thought, why not take a little moment to open our hearts about life in general and perhaps the overall theme of the weekend. In any case, so I'm going to start with a couple blocks. I'm going to start with one turned up so that it's the medium size height. So most yoga blocks have 3 dimensions, right? Like many things. So there is in my case, my block has a 4-inch edge, it has a 6-inch edge, and it has a 9-inch edge. Okay, so you could turn yours all the way up to the 9-inch edge. I prefer to go for that one that's in the middle for the head block, and then for the shoulders, I like to go for the lower block. Now, some people prefer the block to go down the length of their spine like this, so it's on the narrow side. I prefer mine a little on the wider side, generally. Sometimes I like the narrow one, but most often this is more comfortable. And the block should land, if you're going to use blocks, you can use pillows. They're way more comfortable. But the block, if you're going to use a block, should land so that the bottom of the block here is just below your shoulder blades. Okay, so your shoulder blades are actually resting on the block. This is not particularly comfortable. It's not a lazy boy recliner, as I like to say, but it's not totally uncomfortable either. It's just awkward, okay? But it does some really interesting things for the muscles around our chest and in the arm. And so the closer you keep your arm to your body, the more it's going to land deeper in the shoulder. The more you take your arm out to the side, the more it's going to land in the chest muscles. So depending on where you are feeling tightness, we're going to start there. Now, you can do a variety of things with your legs. So let me get myself onto the blocks, and then I will explain that. Oh, and again, you can use pillows in place of the blocks. Those are also nice. I like to let the block kind of just hang onto the back of my skull here. Oops, sorry about that, baby girl. Okay, so you can have your legs completely out straight. Oh. And you can put feet together so you have little butterfly wings. That's a little more spicy on the inner thighs. Or if you want a little bit more of sort of a push backwards into the blocks a little bit, you can put your feet on the ground so that you're kind of in a bridge position with the legs. So you're going to select, I'm sure you could invent a different one as well. You can select whatever position with your legs you'd like, one of those 3 or one of your own making. And then we're going to pause for a bit. Again, so with my shoulders or arms a little closer, this lands more right in the front of my shoulder pocket. If I take my arms way out to the side, I feel this stretch a little bit more across my chest. Right on? So really just where is it right for you today? And then we'll breathe for a few minutes and pause here. Now, if you have no pillows and no blocks and you're just lying down on the floor, that also will, it's also nice. Just let yourself find a spot where you can pay attention to the breath. And we're going to try to get a little bit of emphasis on movement in the ribs so we can loosen up the muscles that live in between the ribs. this for about 1 more minute. breaths. Now, before I come off the blocks, I'm going to reach my arms up over my head, kind of grab my elbows, let my arms hang to give myself a little stretch in my triceps, and then reach out through the legs. And then I'm going to bring my feet in. I'm going to take the one out from under my head first, and then I'm going to take the one out from under my upper back if I can get it. Oh. Oh, and then come back onto your back because that is magnificent. It just feels so good. The block is so firm and so expansive that it makes my back feel like it spreads out across the floor in this really cool way. So you can kind of rock on that upper back a little bit. Just notice the muscles around where the block or the pillow or whatever you had under there, if you had something under there, was. And then we're doing these little windshield wipers maybe with the legs, or maybe you have your knees into your chest and giving your low back a little rock. Alrighty. So we're going to take the arms out. Now you can put the palms down. I find that useful for kind of helping to hold the shoulders steady, or you can do the palms up and just really press the forearms into the ground. Both work great. Then float the knees up so that they start out about over the top rim of the pelvis or over your belly button, somewhere in that little neighborhood. We're going to take the legs over to one side, and then if you can straighten your legs out, you got room in your house, cool. Otherwise, curl your knees into your armpit. Bring the knees back to about that pelvis height position. Come to the middle. Lift up nice and high. See if you can get a little bit of your pelvis off the floor. Come back to the center. And then come over to the left side. Curl in. Come back. So we're going to try to hold our shoulders stable the whole time. Okay, so we're going to do that like a flow. So over to the right. Curl in. To the center. Lift. To the left. Curl. To the center. Lift. To the right. Curl. To the center. Lift. To the left. Curl, and just keep on going, yogis. We're going to do about 3 more sets. Oh. So this is my last set. You might still be working on yours. Now, after I've gone to the left here, and I've done one more in the middle, I'm going to bring my legs all the way to the right and put them on the floor. Now, if that causes trouble for my shoulder, you could take a block and put that, or your pillow, put that underneath your leg, and then that gives you a little landing pad to land your legs on. Now I'm going to pull my hip towards the right while I stretch my shoulder toward the floor on the left and try to create some length down this whole left side of my body. Oh, it feels nice, yogis. Hopefully it does at your house. 2 more breaths. All right, so we're going to take a big inhale. And then exhale, bring it all the way back to the center. Now, before we go anywhere, we're going to hold onto the left leg and let the right leg stretch all the way out. And then hold it onto your left leg. Hug it in if you can. We're going to spin the foot around in circles. Oh, that feels nice. We go the other direction. Point and flex. All right, so we're going to go for a hamstring stretch. Now, you might have to let go of your leg. So we're going to see if we can straighten that leg all the way out, and then bend the knee and hug it in, and then heel away. See if you can stretch that leg all the way out straight. Bend the knee, hug it in. One more time, see, can we stretch that leg away? Oh. hold steady if you can. Breathe. One more breath. And you're gonna hug that leg in, let it go. You can stretch yourself out from fingertips to toe tips. And just for fun, pause for a second and see if your left side feels different than your right side. Is it longer? Softer? Maybe none of the above. All of the above. All right, yogis, so bring your knees in. We're gonna take the legs over the opposite way. If you liked having a block last time, take it with you. So you're gonna take the legs over. And again, so we're gonna settle the legs over to the left. Try to kind of find a way that works for you. And then try to get your right shoulder all the way on the ground, and we're gonna stretch the right hip over to the left and the right shoulder to the right. So we're stretching this whole thing all the way down that right side. Oh, it's so good. Sometimes I can feel like some extra stickiness in places. I'm giving my leg bone a little jiggle because that feels nice around my hip socket. Oh, 2 more breaths. So take a big inhale, and then we're going to come on back to the center. And again, we're going to hang on to the leg, this time the right leg. Let the left leg stretch all the way out, and then spin your right foot in circular shapes. And go the other direction. And we're going to point and flex. That's nice. Feels really good. All right, guys, this is the situation, right? We're gonna try to stretch these hamstrings out. You can let go of your leg. We're gonna see if we can straighten that thing all the way up, and then give it a bit of a bend. And go slow. See how straight it wants to be. Maybe not all the way straight today. And then give it a bit of a bend. And we're going to do that one more time. And we're going to hold steady with the stretch. You can back off a bit. Reach out through your other leg. Last big breath. We're going to let that guy go. Give everything a little bit of a wobble. A really big stretch. And then just pause for a second and see, are we even on both sides? Hopefully we're good. We don't have to start again. At the very least, closer to even than last time. All right. So we're going to do some single straight leg stretch. To do the single straight leg stretch, you're going to curl your shoulders up off the mat. Now, there's a tendency to want to do that with the neck like that. We're not going to do that. We're going to use our abs. We're going to curl up with the abs. Neck is going to just hold our head up. Now, if that's problematic, you can put your hands behind your head and press your head into your hands so that you're securing your neck, okay? So then you can't use your neck, and don't pull on your neck. Push your head back into your hands. Then you can use your abdominal muscles to hold yourself steady, and you'll do the leg work. You just won't do the arm work, right? So to do the leg work, we're going to float the legs up so that the knees, again, are about over the top of the pelvis. We're going to curl the shoulder blades up. One leg is going to straighten out. We're going to reach through that leg, bring it back, straighten the other leg out. Give it a little extra squeeze out of the air, okay? So the air is going to come out. I'm going to give it a little extra squeeze. This leg reaches out. Give it a little extra squeeze. I'm not pulling on my neck. Keep the head pushing back into your hands. Just give it that little extra squeeze with your abs. Stretch that leg, squeeze. Stretch that leg, squeeze. Stretch that leg, squeeze. Stretch that leg. Squeeze 2 more, you guys. Stretch, squeeze. One more time. All right, now bring the legs in. You can let go of your head for a moment. And just notice if there's a difference in your neck than you normally feel. And providing we were really pressing our head back, hopefully the neck feels relatively secure. So going from this single straight leg stretch, we're going to do this little move where we're going to keep the upper body exactly stable, but we're going to add the legs. We're going to move the legs to make it more challenging. And again, you can come back to this position, curling in, and we're going to try to hold the position in the upper body and lower body as we extend the legs out. Now some people can have their legs lower and not make any uncomfortable situations happen in the low back. So we're not trying to press our low back curve down into the floor. We're just wanting to hold the curve in a neutral position so it doesn't arch, okay? So we want to try to prevent the little arching. We just want to keep the body nice and neutral. Now, if you're stronger in your abdominals and you can extend the arms and the legs without losing that situation where your body is nice and stable, cool, do it that way. Otherwise, put your head in your hands, press your head back, curl in through your abs, extend your legs, and bring it back. Extend, and bring it back. Extend, torso stays the same, bring it back. Just the legs and maybe the arms, extend out. Extend, bring it back, 3 more. Extend, bring it back. Extend, bring it back, push that head back, bring it back. Beautiful. So release that, give yourself a little moment to either stretch or to rinse. I like both. Now we're going to do one of my favorites, but because I have a shorter torso and longer legs, the best way for me to do this is to create a little bit of structure by holding my hands under my hips. It prevents my low back from arching, and it prevents some pain in joints and other places for me. Now, possibility number 1 is that you come back to this position, press your head in your hands. Now in this case, we've been using it because I might be overdoing my neck, but in this case, this one is the more difficult position to maintain. So we're going to take the legs up, we're going to lower them down for 4, 3, 2, 1. At the 1, we're trying to hold this stable, we're trying to hold the shoulders up, everything is nice and secure, and then we're going to come back. So for some of us, because the lever is just too much, you might decide you're going to put your hands either just under the hip or beside the hip, okay, depending on how your shoulders feel about life. And then we're going to snuggle in, press the shoulder blades nice and firm into the ground, bring your knees in. So you either have your hands behind your head and your shoulder blades off the floor, or you have your hands under your hips or near your hips and the shoulder blades on the floor. Okay, so one of those two. We're going to extend the legs up, glue the legs together nice and firm, spread out your toes. And we're going to hug that low back so that it stays neutral, lower and down. 4, 3, 2, 1, hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Lower down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on back. Okay? Only lower as much as you can control. Going down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. Lower down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. We only have 2 more to go, you guys. We can do this. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. Last one. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back. Nice job, yogis. All right. So we're going to give that a rinse. That's one of my favorites. I love the way it makes my lower abdominals feel. Oh, it's good. Whee! All right, yogis, give yourself a stretch. Oh. And we're going to try to do some roll up. Now, some of you will be able to roll all the way up and into a sitting position. Fold over your legs, roll all the way back. Some of us, in order to do that, we have to either push ourselves up with an elbow or throw ourselves forward. So if you're in that camp, follow me, because we're going to do it in 2 halves, okay? So some people are going to roll all the way up, and some of us are going to do this. We're going to roll as far as we can go, and then come back down without pushing forward or thrusting off, right? So we're just rolling up as far as we can go. Come back down, stretch. Come back down, stretch. Come back down, stretch. Come back down, stretch. We got 2 more. And those of you that are rolling all the way up, just keep going. Come back up. All right, so now we're going to get ourselves up, and we'll do the other half of the movement. So we'll sit ourselves up, and we'll stretch out. Readjust so I'm on the screen. So we're going to fold over the legs, and then we're going to roll down as far as we can control, and come back up. Sit up tall, stretch over your legs. Nice big inhale. Exhale, roll back as far as you can go. Come back up. Sit up tall. Exhale, fold over your legs. We got 3 more. Nice and tall. Roll it back. Good. Sit up nice and tall. Fold over your legs. Coming up. Roll it down as far as you can. Roll it back up. Last one. Sit up tall. Fold over your legs. Come all the way back. Roll it down as far as you can, and then come all the way back to sitting. And then those of you doing the full roll up, when you get all the way up, you're gonna pause. Now, the reason to do it in that method, if you really struggle to get yourself off the floor, is that you're gonna wind up using things that don't strengthen your muscles. And so you can divide it in half like that, or you can do the full movement when your body is ready. And it's possible you'll have body mechanics that are never really great for the whole roll up. But we all wind up in the same place. So we're going to come up to all 4s. Oh. Oh, and this is one of my favorite things. It's just to move your back through a couple of different shapes. Rounded and a little bit more swayed. And you can get a little bit exaggerated with these movements, let your shoulder blades kind of float up. And then push through the low back. Round through your upper back. So once you're in position for this, you can also move your hands into different positions to hit the wrist a little differently. This one makes my thumb mound stretch out a little bit. And then if I turn my hand all the way around, that's a little spicier. Feels good. So yogis, we're going to take the knees just a little on the wide side, and we're going to take one arm, doesn't matter which one, I'm going to start with my right arm. We're going to lift it up and get a big stretch, and then thread that underneath your left armpit. You can let your head rest on the floor if you like. Now, if the weight going forward towards your head is too intense, pull your hips back like you're going to go towards child's pose. If it feels okay to have your hips right over your knees, or if that feels better, do that one. And then you can take this left arm, or whatever arm you've got that's free, and you can press into the floor to kind of stretch that thing out, or you can go over your back. I like this pushing into the floor method. It kind of gives me leverage to ease myself into that shoulder. Give it a good stretch across my upper back. Ooh, take 2 more breaths. Good, now we're going to come all the way out of here, taking that right arm out. We're going to give it a little bit of a shake. Now we're going to use this right arm. So we're going to take the left leg back behind us and the right arm out in front, and give that a nice long reach. Now you can leave your arm out or put your fingertips down. We're going to curl up. Maybe the elbow and the knee come together. Maybe it's your forehead and your knee because you need to put that hand on the ground. That's fine. 2 more. Again. And then again. Stretch that thing out. Now we're going to bring this left leg forward all the way, and we'll wind up in a lunge. You can if you've got some blocks. Use those for some balance. You might have a piece of furniture nearby. Those also make great, great places to balance. So once you've got your left leg forward and your right leg on the ground, hopefully you mostly were already there with the right leg, but you might need to put some padding under your knee. We're going to ease the hips forward and then ease the hips back until we've almost got a hamstring stretch again. Ease the hips forward. Ease the hips back. Now we're going to find the spot right before it gets intense on the hip. And some of you may never find a spot that's intense in your hip. Oh, that's lucky. And we're going to hold that stretch. So you could bring your arms up. You have your hands on your hips. You can wrap your arms around behind your back. So any option that seems good to you is fine. Just hold and steady with the pose for 2 more breaths. All right, so we're going to ease the hips back, fold over the leg, and if you would like, you can kind of move yourself more so that you're centered over the leg. For me, this gets this outer part of the hamstrings really nicely. And then I'm going to take my last couple of breaths over on the inside, because that gets the inside hamstrings for me a little bit better. One more breath. Beautiful. So we're going to take the left leg and bring it back. Give it a little bit of a shake. Put it down. We're going to take the left arm. So we're going to get a little wide in the knees. Left arm goes, reach it out there, stretch it all the way through, and then land in this little thread the needle or figure 4, depending on like who talks about this. But it's a, you know, whatever. It's a shoulder stretchy kind of pose. It's a twisty child's posy kind of pose. So your choice on what to call it. And then breathe. And again, I'm kind of pushing the floor with my right hand so I can dig my left shoulder into the stretch a little bit more. For you, it might be plenty if you're passive here. And we're going to take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to free this arm. Give it a bit of a shake. And then we're going to take that arm and our right leg out. And there's our spinal balance, which other people have other names for. So one more breath here. And then we're going to exhale and curl it in. Inhale, stretch it out. Exhale, try to round your back as you curl. If you have to put your hand on the ground, it'll work. Stretch it out. Curl it in just like that. Stretch it out. Give it a big stretch. Curl it in. Good. So we're going to stretch out one more time. Hand to the floor. Step that leg all the way forward. And we wind up in a lunge. And again, we're going to kind of surf this lunge a little bit. So we're going to surf forward. See how that feels. And surf backwards towards this hamstring stretch. Just notice where you start to feel things. Is it here? Is it here? Is it a little closer in? Like, where do you start to feel things in your body? All right, so we're going to go for our lunge shape. And again, you might choose slightly different arrangements with your arms or upper body. Hold on the lunge and breathing. Big breath, and then we're going to ease the hips back in again. For me, if I center myself over my leg, this is more of a song about these outer hamstrings. So I like to start there. Sometimes, depending on what my flow is, I might do a whole pose like this, and then come back to the lunge and do another pose like this. But instead, for this one, I'm going to come to this diagonal and feel that shift more into my inner thigh. Take a little pressure off the outer part of my hamstrings there. For you, it might not take pressure off anything. This is the crazy thing, is we're all going to feel things a little differently because we all have little tiny things that are different. All right, we're going to take that right leg and shake it out. Whew, and then bring it on down. Now, yogis, we're going to stand on our knees. So I think I'm going to turn sideways to demonstrate this because I think it'll be clearer, okay? So I'm going to come back onto my left knee. Was that the one I was just on? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to come back onto my right knee and extend my left leg out. I'm trying to switch knees so it's not so much on one knee all at once. So left leg is out. Now I can turn my toes all the way that direction, or I can turn my toes all the way that direction, or I can go somewhere in the middle, or you can float the toes up. This is a little bit harder to balance. So if you like the idea of a challenge to your balance, you can float your toes up. See what I mean? So you can press the foot into the floor, whichever direction it's pointing. We're going to take this right arm, go up and over the left leg. Give it a nice side stretch. So this is our kneeling gate pose. Be careful about pushing on your knee. I mean, your hand can be settled here for a balance, but don't press down. If you want to push on anything, push on your thigh bone. It's a stronger connection. So we're reaching out nice and big. And then we're going to come all the way up. This hand's going to come to the floor. So if you're, for whatever reason, you don't want to have your wrist in that position, you could put a block and then put your elbow on the floor. So with the hand on the floor, we're going to float this left leg up. And then pause there. We're going to make some circles with this leg. Try to hold steady through your torso. You can put your hand on your hip if you like. Good. One more. And then pause. We're going to hug in nice and tight. Go the other direction. Try to hold steady. One more. And then pause. And we'll bring ourselves all the way around. So this guy is going to go all the way back to the ground. We're going to come back to where we started and take the right leg all the way out. And then we're hopefully ready to do the other side. So again, you might have to experiment a little bit with where do my toes point, how much wobbliness do I want, and then we're going to come over into this gate pose and stretch. Last breath here. All right, maybe with the elbow on a block, we're going to come all the way to the floor over on this side. I'm going to get myself settled. And for some reason, I'm a little wobblier on this side, so I'm going to do my best to keep myself. So I'm lifting off my shoulder, lifting through my core, and then we're going to do some circles. Hold steady in here, y'all. Pause right there. Whoa. We're going to go the other way. Maybe go in the other direction. One more. All right, pause right there. Oh, put that foot down. Come all the way back to where we started. And yogis, if you want to, you can do some downward facing dog here. Oh, goodness. If you just want to go back to child's pose and cry for a second, I wouldn't blame you. I might want to do that myself. Alrighty. So, if down dog is not your jam, you can always substitute an all fours position for any of these. For some people, going upside down is not appropriate for, reasons in your eye or blood pressure reasons, all kinds of things. You just don't like it. All of those are valid. Now I'm kind of walking back and forth with my heels a little bit, giving my hips a little jiggle, and then securing my shoulders nice and firm. I'm going to take my feet and just start walking them a little at a time up towards the top of the mat. Now when I get to the point where my weight shifts all the way into my legs, I'm going to stop. Okay? So, I think I got one more step in me. And then widen your feet out so that they're kind of nice and wide. You can turn the toes out a little bit. We're going to make a figure 8 shape with the hips. And then if you can, let your upper body kind of go along for the ride. Do that. I'm going to grab my elbows and just let my body take a ride. Now pause, grab the opposite elbow, and go the other direction. If that doesn't make any sense, just go again in a figure eight. It'll be fine. We're going to try to figure it all out. All right, we're going to come back to the center. We're going to come up halfway. I'm leaving my legs nice and wide for this. For now, come up nice and easy. Bend your knees, fold over. Okay? And almost like a ripple, we're going to start at the lower part of the back and ripple the spine out level. And then start at your neck and ripple it back down all the way to a forward bend. Now if you can straighten your legs out a little bit more, cool. If not, keep them bent. And then one more time we're going to try to feel ourselves snake the spine out. Press a little more firmly into your legs. And then we're going to come all the way up to standing and give ourselves a really big stretch. Now we're going to shift all the weight into the right leg, bring the left leg in, and then take the right leg and step it back behind you. All right. Grab your left wrist. Give yourself a little stretch over to the right. Now you can swing your rib cage more forward or more backward, depending on how that feels. Take another deep breath. And then we're going to come back to the center. Same idea. Weight in the right leg, left leg behind us. Grab your right wrist. Give yourself a little stretch over to the left, and again, you might need to experiment a little bit. Where's the just right spot here? Press the feet into the ground. It might be wobbly. Good, we're going to come back to the center, and then give everything a little shake. Upper back. I can sometimes feel like a little stickiness under my shoulders. Get that moving a little, y'all. Okay, so starting at the top of the mat, we're going to take a nice big breath. And then exhale and spread your toes out and feel yourself ground into the floor. Shift all the weight into your right leg and hold that leg steady, lifting up through the side of your waist. Bring your left leg into a tree shape. There might be some plants or things in your way, so be mindful of your surroundings. Now you can bring your foot up higher onto your thigh, or you can stay low on your calf like I'm doing. So this is up to you and your knees. Just don't push right on your knee joint. So we're going to pick this left leg up, we're going to step it back into Warrior One. Now, Warrior One is where we've taken a high lunge where both hips point forward and we shifted it just enough to get this foot to the ground. So your hips are going to be on a diagonal. Don't worry about that. Let the hips stay that way. Press back through your heel. Some people can rotate in more and their hip will come more forward. Wherever yours lands is fine. Turn your ribs a little bit forward, so there's going to be a little extra stretch on this side. We're going to reach out nice and long, and we're going to try to stretch our spine all the way out until we wind up over this leg in Humble Warrior. Now, we're going to roll ourselves back up. Plant your feet, hug in your navel, bring your pelvis back to neutral, and then roll your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way up. Now I like to do this with my eyes closed. I don't know why, because it makes me wobbly. But anyway, maybe do it with your eyes open. Stretch, 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 stretch. Oh, when you get all the way over, relax. Draw the pelvis back, press the feet into the ground, and then you're going to roll yourself up. And just let your back find its way, one bone at a time, or as close to that as possible. Last one. Big stretch. Reach out as far as you can. Stretch your spine longer. Okay. Pause, and then press into the legs and roll yourself up. Pelvis first, and then the spine. Now when we get to the top, we're going to switch this whole thing around. We're going to try to turn all 10 toes forward, and you might have to widen your base. Straighten out your front leg if you can, and then fold over it. You might need a little bend in your knee, and blocks come in really handy here as we try to get the hips as level as possible. Maybe the floor is too far away to reach. Oh, we're just going to breathe. straight over my leg. And again, most of that is I feel in my outer hamstrings. So just noticing where you feel things. You might be tighter in some spots than others. Now we're going to bring this into a balancing pose called standing splits, which means I get to keep my hands on the floor or on the blocks, but I'm going to kick my left leg up in the air, okay? So I'm going to try to stay folding over this leg. Bend this knee as much as you need to. Lift that left leg as high as it'll go. Maybe you can lick your shin bone. I don't know why you would want to. Stretch through your leg. Beautiful. Now we're going to bring this knee into the chest, and then we're going to put that foot down right beside the other. We're going to come up halfway and pause right there and feel the difference in your two legs. And then fold and come all the way up to standing. Oh, give yourself a big stretch. Oh. In and amongst your plant friends. Whew. Give it a little shake, you guys. Oh, I like to refer to that as yoga twerking. But I have a weird sense of humor. Okay, find mountain pose. And can you feel the difference in the side of the body we've done, the side we haven't? So clearly we're going to do the other side. So you're going to spread out your toes, okay? Feel yourself root into that left leg. Press down, lift up, engage through your core, and then bring your right leg into the tree. And again, it can be any version of the tree, providing you can be mindful of your knee joint, right? Little above, little below, not right on the knee joint. Oh. It might get wobbly. Sometimes breezes happen in a forest, y'all. Oh. Nice big breath. All right, we're going to pick this leg up. We're going to step it back into warrior one, and we might land just right, or we might have to make some adjustments. Again, try not to square your hip forward. Let your hip go with your back leg, wherever that happens to be. Spread your toes out, press your feet into the ground, rotate your rib cage a little bit forward. And if you're not yet used to doing the difference between the two, let your rib cage go with your hip for now, okay? Arms are going to come up. You're going to do a lot less damage on your hip socket if you don't try to square it. Okay, so we're going to stretch it whatever angle we got, stretch it out long, and then we're going to roll this thing up. Oh. Pelvis first, let your spine be super loose, and then roll it one vertebrae at a time all the way up, and then give yourself a big stretch. Keep stretching out as you go. Oh. When you get to the bottom, pause, bring the pelvis back, press the feet into the floor, roll yourself up. Oh, that's good. We're going to do it one more time. I like that move. Stretch out your spine. Try to get it as long as you can. And then pelvis first. Push your feet into the floor nice and firm. Bring yourself all the way back up. Oh. Give it one more big stretch. Oh. And then we're going to adjust the hips so that everything points forward. And we're going to stretch out over the straight front leg. So again, I'm trying to get my pelvis as even as it'll go. Let the legs fall where they may. And then, whoo, me and these hamstrings singing love songs to each other. I think it's a love song, y'all. Oh. Ooh, pushing down into this back heel is a great way to get into your calf muscles in the event that you have tight ones. And we got one more breath. Okay, so we're going to bend the knees. And again, you can keep your block or you can put your hands on the floor. We're going to take the leg up. Keep this knee a little bit bent. Stay as close to it as you can. Reach through that opposite leg. And then, who knows, maybe you can come off the floor altogether and hang on to your leg. Ooh, when you fall, you should totally catch. Take a nice big breath. We're going to bring this knee in. We're going to put that foot down. We're going to come up halfway. Oh. You're going to fold over and we're going to step back into down dog, yo guys. Now, from down dog, we're going to come into a plank, but first, oh, if you need to, give yourself a little down dog love. Because it's a good pose. Okay. You can do a full plank. You can modify your plank, put your knees down, hug the navel in. Keep the slope from your shoulders to your knees nice and firmly tucked. Then we're lowering all the way down to the belly. Oh, nice and steady. All right, y'all. We're gonna do some cobra. So we're gonna stretch out the legs, hands around, I don't know, chest height or so, fingers spread out, place the palms on the floor. Then using your back muscles and your legs, reach back, plant the legs, lift. Now I'm not pushing with my arms, okay? I'm helping to hold myself steady, but most importantly, I'm drawing my arms back and opening and broadening across my shoulder. That's why it's a cobra, not some other snake, because that's our little hood, right? That little flap of skin that opens around the cobra's head. We got 2 more breaths. Don't forget to breathe. Last one. If you can get yourself higher with your back muscles, lift yourself higher. It's really just what can you do with your back muscles. Give yourself a little rinse. Oh. All right. So we're going to extend the right arm up and roll onto the right side. Bring the feet around behind us just a little bit. And then I'm just going to make sure that my hips are stacked on top of my hips and my shoulders on top of my shoulders. I can put this hand up front for balance on my hip to help kind of keep track of where my hip is going, or up like this to make it a little more challenging. We're going to pick the feet up so the knees are together but the feet are in the air. We're going to open the knees, and this may be all that happens. Hold it for a count, close the knees, okay? Or if you have the strength to do something a little bit bigger than that, you're going to open the knee, extend the leg all the way out. That makes it more challenging to hold here. Bring the toes back together, bring the knees back together, okay? So we're going to open, see if we can extend, toes together, knees together. This seems like a simple exercise, but it's really complex in how the hip and leg muscles coordinate to make this happen. Don't underestimate this exercise. It's working a lot of muscles in our outer thigh, inner thigh, little muscles in here that tend to get overworked when the muscle on the outer hip is weak. And so this can be a really powerful one for building strength in your hips and legs. Okay, and balancing the strength. So we're going to do 2 more. Out it goes. Beautiful. Try to hold this leg right at height as you extend that leg. See if you can keep it right where it was. Bring the knee together, and then we're going to extend the legs out. This leg's going to come across. It can go flat like that or like this. We're going to lift this bottom leg up and pulse it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it steady. 10, 9, 8. Dig a little deeper. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. We're rolling back onto our belly and doing a 3 pack of cobras. Press the legs down, lift, and coming down. Slide the hands back. Press the legs down, lift, coming back. Keep those shoulders broad. Hands down, lift. Oh, coming down. Left arm goes up. We're going to roll onto the left side. So again, take a moment. Hips on top of hips. Shoulders on top of shoulders. Bring your feet behind you. Bend your knees. Lift the feet. So keep the hip as steady as you can. Rather than letting the hip roll forward, can you keep it nice and stable here? Knees extend. Maybe the leg. Maybe it doesn't. Bring it back. Knees lift. Maybe extend. Come back. Or maybe you hold for the extension. Come back, right? So you're working with the strength that you've got and maintaining the stability in your core. Hug in a little bit like you've got a nice, tight pair of leather pants on. Everything's hugging to the bone. Oh. My dreams of 1980s big hair rocker stardom have gone, but I like to imagine the pants while I'm doing this. So hang steady, yogis. We got 3 more. Good. 2 more. Try to hold that thigh nice and steady. Last one. Hold it there. There it is. Bring it back. Straighten your legs out. Top leg kicks over. Maybe you add that little extra, put the foot on the ground. We're going to reach out through this bottom leg one. In this case, it's my left one. Lift it up, and we're going to pulse it for 10, 9, 8, 7. Try to feel yourself, muscles deep in your hip, holding on and pulsing there. 3, 2, 1. Now hold it and lift for 10, 9, 8. Dig a little deeper. 6, 5, a little more. 3, 2, 1. Bring it on down. And this time, yogis, we're going to roll onto our back. I've got to situate myself on my mat a little bit better. And then, once you're on your back, we're going to give ourselves a little love, because believe it or not, an hour has gone by, or just about. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of time for Shavasana here. Oh, but doesn't it feel nice to just feel your body alive in this moment? Now, if for whatever reason it would be better for you to have your upper back elevated in Shavasana, you can put pillow under your back and a pillow under your head so that you're back into a kind of similar position as we started. If it's okay to let yourself just stretch out on the floor, snuggle your shoulder blades down, relax your arms, relax your legs. You may find that like a cactus position or something like that is more comfortable, so you can decide. Got a hair in my face. Once you've removed all the hairs from your face, then you can relax. The downside to living with fur-bearing creatures. Just get present in the moment, yogis. It's nice to stop at the end of our practice and feel where the practice landed us. Do you feel more vibrancy in your body? Are there places that feel dull or achy? Does your body feel light? Does it feel heavy? Are there other words you would use? Just check in, because it's a great way to learn about what kind of practice works best for you. Today we did kind of a slower, more gentle practice. How did that sit with your body? Before you move, just notice your body again, and then take a really deep breath all the way to your tiptoes. Let go with a big nice sigh. There are tons of Sanskrit mantras that end with the ah sound, and many words that are used, the ah is put on the end. There's a kind of, there's an understanding that somehow we're connected to our breath and connected to life itself. And so that ah at the end of many mantras is a kind of representation of that moment when we become aware that we are here, we're alive, and we're in the present moment. Okay? We call them aha moments in our common parlance. In any case, yogis, we're going to take one more big breath. And this time, let yourself stretch into it. And then with your exhale, you can curl up into a ball. Give yourself a little back massage. Now, if you don't like the back massagey thing with the ball shape, don't do that part. Do the windshield wipers instead. Give your fingers and toes a little wiggle. Move your wrists and ankles a little bit. And then when you're ready, we're going to roll ourselves over to the side and come up to a seated position. Or if you're feeling like, but I need to rock myself up, do that. So we're going to take a moment, nice big breath together. And a big deep sigh. Aha. Namaste, yogis. Have a great rest of